don't tell truffles, but this video is about dogs. So hello and welcome. This is Miss Thomas. I'm just a booktuber who likes to talk about books. And today I want to talk about books featuring dogs. Normally I upload videos on Wednesday, and my cat Truffles likes to upload videos on Sunday. So I thought, since it's just me and my cat, I would do a video about dogs this time. We don't want to leave out the dog lovers. And there are some really good books that feature dogs as a character. So I'm going to start with this book. It's on my Kindle. It's called Second Chance Cafe. I don't know if it's showing up. It's by Alison Kent. And during COVID, I took to watching or listening to books on my Amazon Kindle because I was looking at the screen all the time as a teacher, trying to distance learn. And so for relaxation, I would listen to books at the end of the day. And Amazon Prime, as a member, they would offer, free books. And this one is the first of a Hope Springs novel called Second Chance Cafe. And it was just a delightful, fluffy story. And the main character's name was Kaylee. And she struggles with these painful memories from her childhood because she was a foster child, and she had some terrible things as a child, but then she was taken in by this really wonderful woman, and she returns to that home where she had happiness as a foster child. And I think the woman eventually adopted her, so she goes off to college, but she comes back, she returns and purchases that home and wants to turn it into a cafe because she likes to cook. And so Kaylee and her lovable dog Magoo, who was also a stray that Kaylee took in, they have this new life that they create for themselves at this home from her childhood that she recently purchased long after the adoptive foster mother has passed on. Kaylee purchases the home to convert it into a restaurant with her lovable sidekick Magoo. So that was a really just nice, pleasant, happy book. And it was the beginning of a series, the Alison Kent, the Hope Springs novel series, Hope Springs. So I guess like Hope Springs Eternal maybe. They're all just very optimistic books. I read a couple of them in that series. And they were, for me, I don't know if the deal's still on, but they were free through Amazon Prime. So I could download the book for free. And then I think I could listen to it for either free or for $1. So that was something that I really enjoyed. Next on my list is A Dog's Purpose. Now, I just finished this one last night, and it was good. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't, really exceptional, but it was pretty good. And one thing that bothered me, though, is I was reading the book, and the dog was like a golden color, and it drives me crazy that sometimes the dog or the illustration on the cover doesn't resemble the character or anything from the book. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that always bothers me. In this case, though, I was surprised to learn as I was reading that the dog keeps getting reincarnated as another dog. So eventually the dog does look like this. But in this book, A Dog's Purpose, it begins with a dog who is born from a feral dog and, eventually is taken in by this lovable woman and her friends. And the dog is telling the story from his point of view. And then the dog dies, and you think like, well, that's weird. Is the book over? But the dog is born again into a different dog. And that time he becomes, the pet of a sweet little boy. And that was my favorite storyline and it was probably intended to be the most popular storyline because it got most of the text in the book. So the dog becomes a pet to this boy, and it's really about how the dog grows up with the boy and, you know, their relationship and the different things that happen. And sometimes the boy lives in his home, and sometimes they visit the grandparents who have a farm. And it was just a really nice book. There was a neighbor who was kind of troubled that caused some problems in the book. He had a problem in particular with arson and fireworks, and so there are some sad and dangerous things that happen in the book. But overall, it was a pretty uplifting book. I said if I had to give it, like, on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, I would maybe give it 3 stars, because in my mind I kept comparing it to one of my all-time favorites, definitely my #1 favorite about a dog, or even about any animal, and that would be The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein. It's been a while since I've read this, but this one I really loved. It was, like I say, 5 stars out of 5 possible stars. It was the story of a dog who he has a life with the race car driver, and so that's where we get the title, The Art of Racing in the Rain. And in the book, it really kind of begins with the end. The owner of the dog, the race car driver, has to put the dog to sleep because the dog's very old and his health is failing, and the race car driver, the main character, is devastated. I mean, he just doesn't want to part with his dog. And so, you know, he's really upset. And then the story goes into the dog's point of view, and the dog starts to tell the story of how he was born into a group of puppies, and he was adopted by this guy, and the life he had with the guy. And really, to me, the bottom line of the story was that the dog was sort of saying, it's okay, I'm ready to go. I've had a fantastic life, and I wouldn't trade a moment of it. I'm really okay with going now, so you can put me down, and, you know, I'm ready. So I thought it was a really lovely book. I actually sent it to my brother as a gift when my brother had to put his dog down. I don't think my brother ever read it, but I did send him the book. I thought it was a really encouraging book to anyone who's ever lost a dog or had a beloved dog that they really terribly miss. This book, it really was very encouraging. There was a lot of sad things that happened in the race car driver's life. You know, it really gets into the story of the race car driver and, you know, his career and his life and his marriage and his daughter. And one thing I liked about this book over this book, I like this one better because it just focuses on the one race car driver, the dog's life with the race car driver. Whereas this one, there was like 3 garbled stories about a dog. In the end, it kind of tied together, but to me, this one was almost a collection of short stories, not quite, but sort of. Whereas this one was like a full, fantastic book from beginning to middle to end. So those are my books about dogs. I recommend them. And I hope that you are reading and enjoying all the things that you're reading too. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.